When is the best time for your law firm to ask a client to leave you a 5-star review? Well, here's the thing. Most lawyers think they have to wait until the end of the case to ask a client to leave a 5-star review, and that is not the case, for lack of better terms. You can ask a client for a 5-star review as soon as you provide any sort of value for them. As long as you think that the client is happy and their case is moving in the right direction, go ahead and ask them for a 5-star review. You don't have to wait for the case to be over. Here's another secret. You don't even have to ask clients for 5-star reviews. Imagine you have a consultation and you provide lots of value for the person on the other end, but they're just not a good fit for your law firm, or maybe they just don't even need a lawyer, but you still provided value to them. You can ask them for a review. You can say, hey, listen, if I sent you a link, would you mind sending, I'm assuming you're on the phone here, would you mind leaving a review just about your experience with us? We just want people to know that if you call our law firm, we're eager to answer all your questions. We're eager to provide as much value as possible. And it really helps a lot of people when they're trying to make potentially one of the most difficult decisions of their life, right? So you can ask people for reviews before you finish the case, and not even if they're a client. If they're not going to be a client, you might as well ask them to leave you a review because you're giving them value anyway, right? Now, something else that I want to discuss in this is the way that you ask people to leave a review, because a lot of times what happens is lawyers will say, hey, will you leave me a review? And the client says, sure, I'll leave you a review. And then the lawyer says, thanks. And then they each go their separate ways and the review never gets left, right? I'm sure that this has happened to you. This has happened to most lawyers. Don't feel bad, right? So what's the problem? The problem is that the more obstacles that you put in someone's way, the less likely they are to achieve the task. So leaving a review is a pain in the neck. First of all, they have to actually remember to leave the review, which is a big problem. Then they have to figure out where to leave the review. So I got to go to Google. So then they have to go to Google and they have to search for your Google My Business profile or your Google Business profile or whatever it's called these days. And then they have to log in if they're not already logged in. And God forbid they don't have their password. They got to go through a password reset process. And then they have to go back to the profile and they have to figure out, okay, where's the button that I have to click to leave the review? Then they have to click the review. Then they pull it up. And now, what the heck do I say? I have no idea even what to say, right? So at that point, then they have writer's block and they log out. So there's so many reasons why you wouldn't get the review. And keep in mind, they do all this with no incentive whatsoever, right? So what you need to do is you need to figure out how do I remove as many roadblocks as possible so that when they leave, so that it's as few clicks as possible. Because every time, and we know this in marketing, every time every time your prospect has to click, you lose 50% of your audience, right? So that's why softwares like Review Judge, what we do is we actually make it so that we basically bypass this entire process. Yes, they still have to be logged in. No one can get around that process, right? But what Review Judge does and why it's so powerful is that first of all, it reminds them about the review, right? So it sends them an email and a text message, right? Because you never know, do they prefer email? Do they prefer text message? We don't know, so we're just going to send them both, right? And if they don't do it the first time, it will send another email to remind them about them. That's step one. They don't have to remember now, right? Step two, they don't know what to say, right? So all they have to do is they click the link, and then Review Judge will actually help them construct the actual review for them. What's cool is we have the review builder and asks them 5 questions that will result in you getting an amazing review. What was the problem you had before you came to us? Why did you pick us over all the other law firms? What did we do for you? What was the result? How did this result impact your life, right? Answer those 5 questions and you're going to get an amazing review, and the client's actually going to know what to say, and you're going to get words, phrases, keywords, synonyms in your review that are going to make you actually rank higher in Google. It's the perfect combination, right? And then once they're finished with their review, all they have to do is click one button, it copies the review, and then it automatically opens up the proper window where they need to leave the review. So all they have to do is click 5 stars, hit paste, hit post, and they're on their way, right? So that's why it's so important that you remove as many obstacles as possible if you want somebody to complete a goal, especially a goal where there's not much incentive for them, right? So that's the biggest thing. The first thing is you don't have to wait until the end of a case to ask a client for a 5-star review. And they don't even have to be a client, right? You can also do character reviews. You can get reviews from people like friends, family, colleagues. You can get reviews from any vendor that makes money off of your law firm should be giving you a review. You need to ask them for a review. What about charities that you work with, right? There's lots of other people that can leave you character reviews, and they don't have to be reviews saying that you represented them. They can be reviews talking about your character and how hard you fight for your clients. It could be something as simple as, Bill Smith is one of the best attorneys around. If I was ever injured in a car accident, he is the first attorney that I would call. It can be as simple as that, and that in there does not say that you represented them. It doesn't say anything. It's just a character review. It's just talking about your character and basically saying that you're a great attorney and that if they were injured, they would call you, right? So that is how and when to request 5-star reviews.